right. With that, we bring on the head coach of the Orange, Fran Brown. I apologize for my voice, Coach. Not feeling well today, but football season, so no time to be sick. We press on. Congrats on the win over Virginia Tech, and I guess let's start there. We'll certainly get into this next one against BC, but 4-1 now in games decided by 7 points or less. 4-1 in one-score games. What's the biggest reason for your success rate, I guess, in these close games?
Well, our biggest reason, I think, is that we're dark, we're detailed, accountable, relentless, and tough. And I think the relentless and tough shows at the end. I think early on in a lot of those matchups, we weren't detailed, but the coaches held the players accountable. And then we've been able to show our last two letters of being relentless and tough. And I think you can see the connection in that we care about each other. And there's a toughness in our football team.
No doubt. Certainly a resilience that we continue to see over and over again. And I want to preface this next question by saying I'm not questioning your decision-making at all. I'm curious. You score there at the end of regulation. How much is the kicking game weighing on your mind in a situation like that, knowing that obviously you guys have struggled with extra points and field goals, and how much was that weighing on your mind in that moment, whether or not to kick the extra point to go to overtime or to try and end it with a 2-point conversion?
No, I was going I was kicking it. We was going in the fifth quarter. I know who we are.
We still have Coach. Coach, you still with us?
He froze.
All right, let's see if we can. We'll see if we can reestablish the connection with Coach here. And if we can't reestablish the connection, we'll get him on the phone. As we're, if you happen to be watching us at QSportsTalk.com, you see that we've got Coach in his office. We've got the video of that. We're going to try to reestablish the connection and bring him back.
It sounds like that was never in question.
Yeah,
he was going for overtime.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans in the building were kind of holding their breath with the extra point.
I tend to lean that way. I'm kind of I think that's an easier way to win than I said. I said that the other day. Yeah. I think going to overtime is an easier way to win than getting an actual 2-point conversion.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely the right decision. Just knowing that the kicking game has been shaky at times, though, I didn't know if that weighed into his. Does that weigh on your mind at all? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm sure it weighs on his mind every day.
Right.
Like even before that situation.
Right. Do you question yourself, I guess, in that moment? Should we go for 2 here? Or do we kick the extra point? They kicked the extra point. They won again in overtime. 2-0 now here in overtime games. And, as Coach Brown said on Saturday, they've got LeQuint Allen. They got the best football player on their side. And you give them the ball. Overtime is LeQuint time. And you find a way to get the job done, and they've been able to do that here in close games. All right, I think we're going to get Coach Brown on the phone today and work our way through the rest of this interview, Paulie. But it's a big one against Boston College, as we said. They're 4-4. They started 4-1. They lost 3 games in a row. They're coming off a bye week though, and you get a sense Syracuse is going to be taking on a very motivated team on Saturday in the BC Eagles.
Yeah, it's important, and they do have to figure out something with the kicking game, right?
Yeah, and we're joined again by Coach Fran. We apologize for the technical difficulties, Coach, but we were talking there about the kicking game a little bit, and you said that you were going for the extra point the entire way. What can be done mid-season about that? And I know you've tried different kickers, and what can you do at this point, or is it something that really just has to be addressed in the offseason and beyond?
He made a kick. He made a 40-foot.
Yeah.
I mean, I addressed it. He did it. He's doing his job.
All right, Coach, I want to ask you a question, too. You said something that caught an old guy like me off guard at your presser, and that was playing time sometimes now breaks down to we got to keep guys happy because of the transfer portal. How much does that weigh in, and how do you make those decisions when you're giving playing time?
You still got practice, right? You got to live right off the field and do all those things. But if you practice extremely hard and the talent level between you and the other guy isn't that huge of a gap, why would I have him in for 79 plays and you not play any? How about he take 60 and then you play 19? Or, you know what I'm saying? Then I get a better, stronger, more ready guy in the fourth quarter. It's just like strategizing, being able to set up something so we can strategically have an opportunity and a way of being able to win at the end of the game. So I'm never doing nothing just for you not to leave. If you don't want to be here, then just don't be here. Like, and I really mean that, and I tell them that you could go. But if this talent level is pretty close, and you can go in and spill, have a guy be able to be a little bit more healthier later on, and it's the best thing for the program, and it's the best thing for the team, then I'm going to push it that way. So, I mean, that's why it's a competitive environment. That's why so many people play here.
I want to ask a follow-up question on that. This came up on the show literally yesterday, Coach. Felicia Leggett-Jack said after their opener the other night that she benched one of her players because she wasn't being as tough as she wanted her to be. She wanted her to learn a lesson. She benched her for the third quarter, brought her back in for the fourth quarter, and she played really well down the stretch, and they ended up winning the game and pulled away for that victory. I guess my question to you is benching still an effective tactic for coaches? Like when we were all collectively growing up, I know you're a little bit younger than us, but we're all relatively close to the same age. Like that's what coaches did, right? If you weren't doing your job, you got benched. You know, now with the portal and keeping guys happy and all that, does it create more problems than it's worth, or is benching still an effective tactic?
That's 100% effective. You're not starting. Everybody wants to start. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants the opportunity to do that and then playing. So sitting someone on the bench definitely goes. But that's competition, though. You know, I don't have to bench you because I know how you worked all week and I know the things that you're going to do. Now, if you're not doing all the right things off the field, then you shouldn't be in that position anyway. So usually how you practice is how you'll play. You know, and if you create that environment at practice that's like the game, then it's going to be simple when it comes time for the game. Now, will someone have a bad game? Yeah, that happens, right? But in reference to effort, you know, and knowing your job and doing your job, that's all part of practice. So that's on the coaching.
You know, I know you addressed this after the Virginia Tech game, but wanted to give you, you know, now that we're closer to game time here, wanted to bring up Zeed Haynes again. We saw him on the sidelines. You mentioned he's back with the team. He's back, you know, practicing. I'm sure you have a plan for him. Can you share with us at all what the plan is in terms of getting him back on the field in game action? Will he suit up on Saturday? Where do things stand right now with Zeed Haynes?
He got to get a couple of weeks of practice under his belt, and we just got to keep trying to figure out things out that way. He wouldn't be ready to do anything with us. I mean, he just got a chance to come in. He's been working out in the weight room right now and things of that nature. So after that, then we'll move on to Phil next, you know what I mean, just to see. But it's hard to just come back and play a sport in college. And I'm very demanding. There's a lot of things that we're doing. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but he's working his butt off to try and put himself back on track.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's look ahead to this next opponent. It's Boston College, a team that started 4-1. They've lost 3 games in a row, but they're coming off a bye week. You know, they're scratching and clawing for bowl eligibility. You know you're going to see a very motivated team on Saturday. I mean, what stands out to you about the Eagles?
The defense, they're doing a real good job. I think they got a real good defensive line in Horsley, Brooks, and Donovan, and Neto. I don't know how to pronounce his name right away. Of course, their quarterback, Thomas, number 1. Castellanos is really good. I like Kai. I like Ward. I think that tight end 17, Franklin, Jeremiah Franklin, he does a real good job. You know, he's a big playmaker. And then you got Bond, who's one of the better receivers in the entire country. And Jaden McGowan, Jaden Skeet, Harris, Gerard Bradley. I think Bradley's really good. They just do a good job all around with all those guys, you know. I'm excited to go against their secondary. I think their secondary is they're some of the better younger corners in the country, you know, and the things that they're doing. I think they got an NFL scheme, so you never really know what they're doing. I mean, they're always moving around, and they go from different fronts and just doing different things. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun matchup to go against those guys, to go up to Boston College to play this rival game. I'm excited about going up there to play against those dudes.
I'm glad you brought up that word rival. It's something that kind of comes up on this show here and there, usually around this time of year when Boston College is either coming to town or Syracuse is going there. Is it important for a program to have a rivalry? Is it important that fans kind of feed into this and look at this as, you know, a traditional rival between Syracuse and BC?
Yeah, it's important as you look at it that way. It has to be. You know, it's just something that's been going on since the 50s. We proximity. I mean, look how close we are. We're both Northeast football teams. And, you know, Boston and Syracuse will always be a rival. You know, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? I think it's something that goes without saying that this has to be a rivalry. It's important that it is. It's important for football. It's important for us up here in the Northeast, and it's important to Syracuse. I mean, of course, no matter who we play, you're a rival to us, but this one stands out a little bit more, and we got to go up there and play against these guys, and it's important that we go up there and just go have fun playing a rival, So it's something that these young kids, they get to talk about years and years from now, on both teams, to be able to always talk, and man, it's just bragging rights for the rest of their lives,
Yeah.
So it's get to go and do this.
No doubt about it. Any injuries we need to be aware of? I know you said you've seen Willis, still banged up. Anything else that we need to be aware of?
I don't think Marcellus Barnes will play anymore this year, and outside of that, everybody else is good to go.
All right. And I guess just last question, Coach, in terms of winning this game, I mean, what does this game ultimately come down to in your mind against BC?
Just being able to stay together. Being able to get into that fourth quarter and fight through the fourth quarter. They're a tough team that is going to compete the entire time. So we're just looking to be ready to fight throughout the fourth quarter and just try to have one more point than those dudes got at the end of the game. I always look at it, watch it and just going through stuff, man. Because there's no such thing as a bad win, and people always talk about that's a good loss. I don't understand that. So we're just trying to go in and get one more point than they are, and I'm pretty sure they're trying to do the same thing. So if we can come out with one more point, that's what we're looking to go and do.
All right, noon kick on Saturday. Coach, we appreciate the time. We look forward to talking with you again next week.
I bet you be safe.
All right, you as well. Head coach Fran Brown joining us here on the show, and I guess we know where he stands with the Syracuse-Lemoyne basketball game. There's no such thing as a bad win.
Well,
and
one of the first interactions I ever saw someone have with Coach Boeheim like 25 years ago was the South Carolina-Syracuse game at South Carolina. Syracuse wins in overtime. The guy leads the interview with, "That was an ugly win, but you got it," And Coach goes, "There's no such thing as an ugly win." He goes, "Is there a pretty loss?" No, there's no ugly wins and there's no pretty losses. And he was like, I hate that term.
Yeah. No, I get it. That's what I was saying the other day. I mean, that's what Adrian Autry said the other day. That's what Jerry McNamara said after his first game. He said, he said, I learned this from Jim Boeheim. You would much prefer to learn from a win than learn from a loss. And Adrian Autry has that opportunity now, and his team's got a week off to figure out, okay, why was this game closer than expected? And, what needs to be done so that doesn't happen again. But to be able to learn in a win is obviously much, much preferred than to learn in a loss. All right, with that, we'll hit a timeout. 315-437-7644. Phone lines open the rest of hour number one. John Meter-Perrell, the play-by-play man for BC football, joins us at 1. Matt Park, 1:30. Back after this on ESPN Radio.